Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at how to factorize quadratic equation. Now we all know that there are two ways of solving quadratic equations, and if you don't know, well, today you're going to know. So there are two main ways. We have the factorization method and we have the method of the formula, where you use the formula to solve the quadratic equation. But have you ever asked yourself, when is the proper time to use the formula? Or rather, how can you tell when you can use the formula? And how can you tell when you cannot use the factorization method? Because sometimes, hey, let us tell ourselves the truth. Using the factorization method can be faster than using the formula method. And so there are some times that we will get ourselves inside this problem where we will use the factorization method, but we will get to a point that we now realize that the factorization method cannot work. So instead of wasting a lot of time finding out that the factorization method will not work after going through some long processes, how can we take some few seconds to know if the factorization method can work or not? So that is what we're going to be looking at today, together with, of course, solving a couple of questions. So let us look at the first question that we have. So we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. So the question is, how do we know if factorization method can work? How do we know that if factorization method cannot work? So we have what we call the discriminant. Actually, is part of the factorization formula. The discriminant is indicated by capital D, and capital D is equal to b squared minus 4ac. Do you remember this formula? It's part of the factorization formula, which is x equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you see, this is the part that we took without the square root. So that's what we are dealing with. So what does this part have to do with knowing whether an equation can be factorized or not? Well, if the answer to this turns out to be a perfect square, then yes, it can be factorized. But if it turns out not to be a perfect square, then it cannot be factorized. For example, if after solving it you get the discriminant d to be like 8 or 13 or 12, then this does not have, you cannot use factorization method. But if it gives us a perfect square, then we can use factorization methods. So let us try and let us see whether we will have a perfect square or not. So first of all, we need to identify what b is, what a is, and what c is. So if we look at the equation, we'll find out that a is equal to 1, while b is equal to 5, and c is equal to 6, because this is a, b, c. Alright, so let's substitute it in. So capital D is equal to b squared, which is 5 squared, minus 4, a is 1, and c is 6. So 5 squared is 25, minus 4 times 1 is minus 4, and minus 4 times 6 is minus 24. So we have 25 minus 24, which is 1. So the question is 1 a perfect square? Yes, it is a perfect square. Alright, so we can use factorization method without any problem. So let's go on ahead. So for you to use factorization method, first of all, you need to multiply the first term with the constant, and when you multiply it, you have 6x squared. Then you ask yourself, what are the two factors of 6x squared, such that when you add them together, it gives you this middle term, and when you multiply it, it gives you 6x squared, and it has to be none other than 2x and 3x, because 2x times 3x is 6x squared, and 2x plus 3x is 5x. So instead of writing 5x, we write 2x plus 3x. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6 equal to 0. So we can now do some kind of bracketing like this. And so we find the common factor in this bracket, find the common factor in this bracket. So the common factor in this bracket is x. So x stays outside. And what we have inside the bracket is now x plus 2. And then the common factor here is plus 3. And what we have inside is x plus 2. So you know that you have done it well by the time you see that this expression here and this expression here are equal. So all this is equal to 0. So the next thing you do is to factorize further, because from this and this, the common factor is x plus 2. So x plus 2 stays out again, and then we have x plus 3 in brackets all equal to 0. So when you have something like AB equal to 0, this means that it is either A that is equal to 0 or B that is equal to 0. So the same thing is applicable here. So it is either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. So we have it is either x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. So when we make x subject of formula here, moving this plus 2 to the other side, we have that x is equal to minus 2, or when we move plus 3 to the other side, we have that x is equal to minus 3. So this is the factorization way. So you can see that we were able to use the discriminant to find whether we can use the factorization method to solve this or not. So the next example, we'll be using this discriminant method again to find out if we can factorize it or not. Alright, so the next question is x squared plus 4x plus 1 equal to 0. So can this be factorized or can it not be factorized? Well, there's only one way to find out, using the discriminant. So d is equal to b squared minus 4ac. So where my b is 4 squared minus 4, and my a is 1, and my c is also 1. So this is equal to 4 times 4 is 16, minus 4 times 1 is minus 4. So what I have here is 16 minus 4, which is equal to 12. So is 12 a perfect square? No. So that means we cannot use factorization method for this one. We have to just go straight to the formula method. So this is a perfect way of knowing if you can use the method of formula or the factorization method. So let's just go straight to the formula. So that means that x is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is equal to minus 4 plus or minus b squared, which is 4 squared minus 4, a is 1, c is 1, all over 2 times 1. So this is equal to minus 4 plus minus, so this is 16 minus 4 over 2. So this is equal to minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 12. So this is what we have, all over 2. So when we come up here, this should be equal to minus 4 plus or minus, this is the same thing as saying 4 times 3, because 4 times 3 is 12 over 2. And because 4 has a square root, I can bring it out of the square root, because the square root of 4 is 2, and then leave 3 still inside the square root. So this is what we have. So x is equal to minus 4 plus 2 root 3 over 2, or minus 4 minus 2 root 3 all over 2. So this is what we have so far. So you can leave it this way, or you can go further to find out what the square root of 3 is, and then you add it to 4. But you can just leave it like this. So this is how you solve quadratic equation, and this is also how you find out if a quadratic equation can be factorized or if it cannot be factorized, so that you just go straight to using the formula method. So I'll see you in another video. Have a lovely day and goodbye.